Hi everyone, it's Monica, and today I am here to talk about some of the things I have been loving this past winter. Today is actually daylight, the day that we jump forward an hour, so in my mind it is finally spring because now the days are gonna be brighter. I'm gonna exit work and it's not gonna be dark out. So excited for this, so excited for spring and summer and just all the fashion that goes along with that. So I thought it was the perfect time to wrap up the winter, talk about the things I just absolutely loved from books, movies, TV shows, skincare, beauty, etc. So because this is a booktube channel, of course, I need to start with my favorite books of the past season, and two of my favorites were total surprises. The first one is Forest of a Thousand Lanterns by Julie C. Dow. This is a retelling of Snow White, but sort of like a prequel from the Evil Queen's perspective. It's also an East Asian themed story. This was just such a fun, intense book. It was political and dramatic, and I loved the protagonist. She was so much fun to read from because she was evil but like in a relatable way, and I just thought she was fantastic. I especially loved the way that different mythologies played into this. The world felt so lush, and just like the writing in general just felt so atmospheric, and I loved falling into this book. The other book that I just absolutely adored this past season was The Darkest Part of the Forest by Holly Black. This season was like the season of Holly Black for me. It's when I finally started reading her books. I don't know why. The only book by her that I had read previously was White Cat, which I enjoyed. I listened to it because Jesse Eisenberg narrated the book, and I had like a crush on Jesse Eisenberg at this point in my life. And I really enjoyed the audiobook, and I enjoyed the story. I thought it was very different for YA. It's like a mafia magical story. But after that, I never really continued reading Holly Black. So because I enjoyed The Cruel Prince so much, I finally picked up The Darkest Part of the Forest, and I loved this book. I loved it even more than The Cruel Prince, like a lot more than The Cruel Prince, and I really enjoyed The Cruel Prince. This one I would actually suggest, if you can, to read it before The Cruel Prince because some of the characters come into play there, and I read it out of order, and I don't think it hurt my enjoyment at all of either book, but I do kind of wish I hadn't read it that way because I just didn't know that they were related at all. So this story is, funnily enough, another kind of Snow White retelling, but this one is a gay Snow White retelling with a male-male romance, and it is so... it's just so atmospheric, and like I just love those types of books, those books that like sort of bring you into this sort of other world. This one very much so feels like a modern fairy tale, especially because you do sort of travel through between both our everyday modern world and the fairy world. So I really enjoyed that aspect of it. But yeah, 100% recommend picking this one up if you're into fairy tale retellings or modern fairy tales. I think you'll really enjoy it. The first one is Lady Bird. This is one that every time I talk to someone about this movie, we talk about how much we related to it. And I think that's what's so magical about Lady Bird, is that like so many people can find so many things about the story and the relationships in that story that are relatable, especially, and I think what shines in that story is the mother-daughter relationship. Then lastly, I can't talk about my favorite films of the winter without talking about Paddington 2. Now, Paddington is, if you have not watched Paddington, you should. It is not only one of the most pure films I've ever watched and just heartwarming, like it is the kind of film that you should have a cookie and some hot tea and just cuddle up with a blanket and watch this film, and you will feel so warmed and joyful. It's on Netflix, the first one, so definitely watch it. But the second one was just somehow surpassed the first one in wonderfulness. If you haven't watched either of them, it's very easy to just think that it's like a weird kind of quirky kids film, but it's like so beautifully put together. The way that I've compared it is it's sort of like if you watched like Wes Anderson film, like The Budapest Hotel, but filmed for children. Like so many of those like aesthetics and styles are like sort of brought into Paddington, and it makes the story so artful, and then just like the relationships of it are so warm and lovely, and I can't stop talking about Paddington. Now onto TV. until recently, I really had not watched TV for like an entire year. So what started me off on this kick was watching The Marvelous Mrs. Maisel. This is a new TV show for Amazon, and it was created by the creators of Gilmore Girls. And if you loved Gilmore Girls and you haven't watched Maisel, you really need to fix that because it's so good. It basically follows this woman, Mrs. Maisel, who is sort of like a traditional 1950s housewife. She seems to have it all. Her life is like perfect. And then in the first episode, her husband decides to leave her. And her husband is sort of this wannabe comic. And then she ends up taking up doing comedy, and she is hilarious and so good, and just like watching her journey in the show is just such a treat. The fashion in the show is also another treat, and then Rachel Brosnahan, who plays Maisel, is just everything to me. And then the last show I want to talk about is Hello My 20s, and this is my most recent Korean drama that I have watched. And this follows a group of girls who all live together. They're all in their 20s, and most of them are in college. And it's just sort of like about their lives. There definitely are like very dramatic, over the top plot lines and moments, but overall it's just this really cute story about these girls being friends, and I just adored the show so much. If you have recommendations, if you've watched this Korean drama and you have recommendations for one similar, let me know in the comments down below, because I just really loved it. I loved how sort of like grounded in reality it was, and how much it just felt like, I don't know, like a teen drama. It was just really fun. I am sort of used to watching a lot of Korean dramas that are like very sad or like very dramatic, or like historical ones, because that's what my mom is into. So I'm sort of like getting into this new world of Korean dramas. So if you have recommendations, let me know. The first thing I want to talk about is my new backpack, and I love this thing. It is the Kanken, the Fjallraven Kanken. I think that's how you say it. This is the 13-inch one, and I got it in pink, obviously. I have like this huge Herschel bag that is great for when I'm going on a flight or if I need to carry a lot of stuff, but it's, again, huge. So I kind of just wanted like a medium-sized backpack that I could put my MacBook in, and then, you know, maybe a few other things. So this one was just perfect for all of that, and it's really cute. So it's a new favorite because I think it's just a nice backpack. Sorry if things look a little bit different. Camera died. Had to put it in new battery. Anyways, the next thing I wanted to talk about was a face mask that I've been loving, and that is the Skin Food Rice Mask. This is a wash off mask that looks like this. It's just like thick white gunk. Basically what you do is after washing your face, you massage this onto your face, and you just sort of massage it for a little while. It says to massage it for 10 to 15 minutes. That is excessive in my opinion. I do it for like 3 minutes, and then I just leave it on for 10 to 15 minutes, and then I come back and I rinse it off, and it just makes my skin like really soft because it is like lightly exfoliating. But then it also just like brightens my skin and just like makes my face look really nice. So I have really been enjoying this one. The next mask I want to talk about is a holy grail item for me. It is quite possibly one of the best things I've ever used in my entire skincare life, and that is this sheet mask. This is a box. They come in boxes of 10, and this is from the brand Leaders, and it is their Amino Moisture Mask. This apparently has 12 amino acids in it, but basically this is the most hydrating mask that I've ever used. Now, it is like a very thick sort of consistency. It's like a serum, but it doesn't leave my face feeling yucky, you know? I have dry skin that is also acne prone, especially like hormonal acne prone right here, and sometimes like on my forehead I get like these really bad dry patches, and you can't tell when I don't have makeup on, but once I put foundation on, it like looks super cakey and like flaky, and there's nothing I can do to fix it. But this stuff, I literally used a mask yesterday, and today my skin is just like perfect, or not perfect because I still got like acne and stuff, but like texture wise, it was just so hydrated. And no other like cream, oil, etc. has like worked for me the way that this has worked for me. So I don't want to hype it up. I don't want to make it sound like a miracle product, but kind of to me it has been a miracle product. So really enjoying this. Now on to some random favorites. The first thing that I've been just really loving this month is learning Korean. So I am Korean, but I didn't really grow up learning the language. I know a few words, but outside of that, I really don't know anything. So I recently started investing some time in just trying to learn the alphabet and the language in general. And one of the things that has been super, super helpful with that is the Become a Hangul Master. This is created by the people who create Talk to Me in Korean, and I love their resources. They are fantastic. They offer a ton of free resources for learning Korean. I have a couple of their books and I'm really enjoying them, but this one for me has just been absolutely pivotal. And then I have also a bunch of different apps from Duolingo, Memrise, etc. that I've been using that have been really helpful also in just sort of my Korean learning journey. If you are interested in hearing more about that, I could potentially, like, maybe in a couple months film a video about sort of where I'm at in learning Korean and the resources I've used. And then my last favorite is my new tattoo. I'm sure future me will do a cutaway shot of it here, but I recently got this tattoo, which is sort of a play off of the traditional like heart ribbon tattoo that people often get with like the word mom in it or something. For me, I kind of took that. I worked with my artist, and I will have her information in the description box below, but her name is Danny and she is amazing. She designed this incredibly delicate, beautiful piece of art that is basically a proclamation of self-love. The tattoo itself says myself on the inside, which is not a super original idea. There are, I kind of got this idea from the internet. I just feel like self-love is such an important thing, and being able to like love yourself first and like rely on yourself and all of that I think is incredibly important. So it's nice to kind of have a physical reminder of that on my body and just to be able to look down and see that. And also I just think it's so pretty. I love what she did. Her style of tattooing is just so beautiful. So yeah, I'm so over the moon about this one, and I'm planning on getting a new tattoo soon, and then I think I'm gonna finally film my tattoo video where I'll talk through all of my different tattoos and the various meanings behind them. Those were my favorites from this past winter. I would love to hear if there are any television shows, skincare items, tattoos, whatever that you've been loving this season. Please let me know in the comments down below, and I'll talk to y'all next time. Bye!